Hello, everybody. Peter Greenberg with our midweek edition of Global Travel Update, pre-Thanksgiving holiday. And earlier this week, you heard us broadcast from the middle of the Caribbean on board the brand new Celebrity Xcel on its inaugural cruise. I'm a little west of there right now in a place most people wouldn't expect me to be, but there's a good reason why we're here. We're in Amarillo, Texas. In fact, coming to you from the Cactus Cove Hotel and Resort right off Interstate 40. Now, for those people who are old enough to remember, you know what Interstate 40 used to be? Yeah, Route 66. And that's why I'm here. We're doing a 1 hour television special for PBS on hidden Route 66. Some amazing things that still exist on the original Mother Road that went all the way from Illinois to Santa Monica, California. So we will be shooting this special in Illinois, in Missouri, in Oklahoma, in Texas, where we are right now, in New Mexico and California. And that'll be airing next year to coincide with the 100th birthday of America's Mother Road. So more on that as we go along in the next couple of days, weeks, and months. But that's why we're here in Amarillo at the Cactus Cove Resort, which survived Interstate 40 and is doing well right now. Because if you look around, you can still find so many great, not just remnants of Route 66, alive and thriving places that used to be on Route 66 and have still stayed. There's not a state that I mentioned that doesn't celebrate the old Route 66. Not much to celebrate with the interstate, let's be honest. It's when you get off the interstate and you go back on the old Route 66 that you see America. And that's the whole point. You remember the book Blue Highways by William Least Heat Moon? I recommend you read it even today. He took out the old Rand McNally Road Atlas and went only on the blue highways that were in the atlas. What was the road atlas with the blue highways? Everything but the interstates, 2-lane county roads, service roads, and he saw America, which I highly recommend you do as well. Interstates, Route 66, history, legacy, romance, mythology, and some very interesting characters and storytellers all along the way. That's what we hope to do with our television special, and more on that later. But let's get to the news. Of course, recovering from the government shutdown. As of 2 days ago, they removed the 6% cuts on flight operations. They're now back to regular schedule. That doesn't mean normal, let's be honest. But I have to tell you, in the last 3 days, every flight I was on time, and sometimes even a little early. That's a good sign as we get ready for the Thanksgiving holiday. However, let's look at some numbers here. Our friends at Longwoods International, they do all the research. They polled Americans just 2 weeks ago in the middle of the shutdown, and they came up with some disturbing results. 46% of those they surveyed said they postponed their Thanksgiving trip to a later date. 28% said, I'm going to drive instead of fly. And 26% changed the destination and the duration of the trip. So what does this mean? Doesn't mean that fewer people are traveling. It may mean fewer people are flying. I'll get to that in a second. But it does mean a lot more people on the road. Now, today is the Wednesday before the dreaded Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And a lot of smart travelers are leaving as of tomorrow. They're not waiting around. And they're doing the right thing. Simply because the roads are going to be enormously crowded. Not a week from today. Oh, they'll be crowded a week from today. But the dreaded day is Sunday, November 30th. That's when everybody came up with the original idea to come back on that day. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Do everybody a favor. Try not to come back on that day, either by air or by car. Now, I mentioned fewer people might be flying based on the fact that that survey resulted in 46% of the people saying they postponed their trip. So what does that mean for airfares? Well, believe it or not, airfares are coming down. Domestically, there's been a noticeable drop, and that drop should stay until around the 15th of December, where it goes back up again for that 15-day period between Christmas and New Year's, or before Christmas and then into New Year's. And then it's going to drop precipitously in what we call the dead week. There are 2 dead weeks, by the way. One's coming up. It's the week immediately after Thanksgiving, when everybody's recovering from Thanksgiving. Nobody's traveling. Great deals to be had there, not just airline tickets, but hotel rooms. And the week after New Year's, That's the second dead week when nobody's traveling. So plan ahead, look at those fares, and take advantage of it if you can. By the way, on our radio show this coming weekend, listen up because I'm going to have some hidden Black Friday deals for that coming Friday, for a week from this Friday, in travel. That, speaking of low fares and low deals on tours, airline tickets, and hotels around the world, not just in the US, that I'll reveal on this weekend show. And by the way, this weekend show is coming from a very unusual location. It's the Danube. We are sailing the Danube. And for those people who think the Danube is just between Vienna and Budapest, think again. It's the second longest river in Europe. It's to Europe what Route 66 is to America. It's the mother river. And people don't realize where we sail. We're going to be sailing in, yes, Romania, Serbia, Croatia, even Ukraine. It's an amazing, amazing river. And we'll be talking about that. But again, on the radio show this weekend, listen up for those Black Friday deals. Okay, a couple of idiosyncratic things I wanted to mention. Do you know at the Hyatt Hotel in Rapid City, South Dakota, they're demanding $15 tips for housekeeping? A little message to the management at the Rapid City Hyatt. Have you ever thought of paying your housekeepers better? I'm happy to tip housekeepers. I talk about that all the time. They're the hardest working people at the hotel. They've got a huge number of rooms to clean in their 8-hour shift. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to forget about them. But I don't want to be told who I need to tip. It's like on cruise ships when they put an envelope in your cabin telling you how much you have to tip a day. That's an admission by the cruise line, as it's an admission by the hotel management that they're not paying their people a decent wage. Bad idea. Okay, now I've been on other trips and on other ships where there's a no tipping policy. By the way, the staff is incredible. And you know what inevitably happens? We tip them anyway because they're so great. But just don't hit me over the head like they do in New York City cabs and tell me I can tip 20, 25, or 30%. For what? Getting me from A to B without crashing? That's what I paid the fare for. So for extraordinary service, or not being on your phone, or just being nice, you know what? Happy to tip. But don't insist on it. It's bad form. My wife was in an Uber the other day in Florida, and when she got to where she was going, the guy said, "You can tip me in cash." She said, "Excuse me? You must tip me in cash." I said, "Wait a second. I wasn't planning on tipping you at all." "Well, you have to tip me in cash." She said, "My husband booked this ride. He'll take care of it." "Well, I'm taking care of it now. You're not getting anything." The expectation of a tip, the demand of a tip, destroys the spirit of the tip, forgetting everything else, right? It's like the other hotel we found where they put a tip jar on the check-in desk to tip somebody for checking you in. Are you serious? Now, during the shutdown, a number of TSA security checkpoints actually put out tip boxes. I get it. They weren't getting paid at all. You know what? I hope people did tip them, even though it was considered a violation of policy. I totally get that. And you know what? I hear that. But in general, don't insist on what I have to tip you. Don't insist that I have to tip you. And certainly don't insist on the amount. Organically, it will evolve and people will do the right thing. But you force them to do the right thing, the pushback will be twice as bad in reverse. You know, we've talked about this on the show before. I'm interested to hear your comments as well on tipping, especially as we get to the holidays. Especially as we get to the holidays. Okay, some more stuff to talk about. On our last show, someone asked a question, which I said we're going to research to get you the answer. And that is, do you need a UK ETA visa to visit Gibraltar? And the answer is you do not. Gibraltar is not part of the United Kingdom in that respect. It's a British overseas territory and not subject to the ETA visa, right? And the same thing will happen to other overseas territories of other European Union countries when their ETIAS kicks in sometime in 2026. All right, just wanted to mention that. And since you're all going to be traveling for Thanksgiving, something tells me you'll be checking a bag or carrying presents, right? So a couple of tips. Baggage thieves do not steal bags. They steal individual items from bags as in gifts, or items with price tags on them, as in brand new. So you need to photograph everything you're checking into your bag, make sure you time code it, and then when you get to your destination, assuming your bag actually arrives with you, don't leave the baggage carousel. Open it up and see what's left inside. If something's missing, that's the time to file the claim. You do that when you get home, your word against the airlines, you lose. You know, we just did a story that'll be airing in the next season of The Travel Detective on a very unusual place that I've done many stories with in Scottsboro, Alabama, called Unclaimed Baggage Center. It's the size of like 3 city blocks or a big Walmart. And what's in there? Everything people couldn't find when they got there because the airline lost the bag or the bag wasn't properly identified. They couldn't match the bag to the passenger. It ends up there for sale. And to give you an idea of what people are packing these days, we checked their latest bulletin from the Unclaimed Baggage Center. Are you ready? A freeze-dried chicken foot, a medieval suit of armor, a preserved rattlesnake in a jar of whiskey, an antique French book on performing exorcisms, in the holiday spirit, of course, an authentic box of Prada crayons, and an old-fashioned mustache curler. Among many, in past years, they found emeralds. They found tiles from the space shuttle. I mean, and even a Stradivarius violin. Who's going to pack that? Somebody did. Crazy. One other thing about packing. Someone else asked a question a couple of weeks ago. We have the answer. They said they were traveling with a bagel and cream cheese, and they were denied through the security checkpoint because the TSA determined the cream cheese was a liquid. Well, here's the rule. They do determine that the cream cheese is a liquid, and you're only allowed 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. So really small packets of cream cheese, you'll get through. All right. Same thing for the holidays. I got to warn you, and this is a gray area. How many people are taking a pie or a cake to grandma? Well, if it's a pecan pie, they might determine that's a liquid, right? It's spreadable. So go to the TSA website and ask it that question. Are pecan pies considered liquid? See what you get. All right. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. Let's scroll down and say hello to a few people here. Okay, Linda saying hi from Naples. First time going to Dubai for a week after Egypt. What are your must-see do in Dubai? Well, I'll tell you if you have time. What you want to do is get a car and a driver. Make sure you get a visa. Why? Because you're going to drive through the other Emirates, through Sharjah and Fujairah, through Abu Dhabi, through Ras Al Khaimah. You should definitely go see Ras Al Khaimah. But if you keep on going, guess where you're going to go? Out to the Musandam Peninsula. You're in Oman. It's phenomenal. It's a day trip. And you're right there in that. Oh, it's just phenomenal. You got to do it. Okay. In Dubai, of course, they'll want to take you dune bashing, where you get on one of those Toyota Land Cruisers and do everything short of rolling it in the sand, and you'll come back with sand up every crevice of your body. Just warning you, but it's a fun ride. Or what you can do, when I mentioned Ras Al Khaimah, go there, check out the hotels there, check out the old fort, and check out the dates. They love their dates in Ras Al Khaimah, and definitely worth doing. Now, I know if you're going to be a real tourist, you want to go to the Burj Al Arab, the big building shaped like a sail. You don't have to, honestly. What you want to do is go out to the Palm and check out some of those crazy hotels in terms of design, but also get to Abu Dhabi. It's only about a 40-minute ride away, and the Ubers there are not expensive. I guarantee you that. And you want to know where you want to go to? The mosque. Oh, my goodness. You have never seen a mosque like this in your life. They welcome visitors. You need to see this unbelievable, iconic piece of architecture in the middle of the desert. Well worth the visit. Take your time out there, too. Okay, let's keep going. Harriet and Jim, they're always there from Richmond. Hello, guys. Tim is saying, with all the tech, how come being an ATC has not gotten easier? Because they don't have the tech. The FAA has been literally behind the times for 45 years. They keep talking about next-gen equipment, but let me review that for you. In order to install new equipment, they have to do an RFP. Then they have to have a committee meeting, which apparently they never leave. Then they have to go find the budget for it. Then they have to get that particular piece of equipment approved if they're buying it system-wide. Then they have to order it. Then it has to get built. Then it has to get delivered. Then the ATCs have to get trained, right? And by the time they implement that, they finish the training and they operate it, it's no longer next generation equipment. They have to change the procurement policies so that, and they have the budget ready so that if they want the equipment, they get it within 3 months, not 7 years. That's the issue, among many others at the FAA, I might add. Gene saying hi from Tulsa. Tayo saying hi from Maryland. Boston Bob is saying greetings from, what a surprise, Boston. Okay. Jeff is saying, have you verified that during an Amarillo sunrise and sunset, one can see the curvature of the earth due to the wide open spaces of the Great Plains? Well, I will tell you this, don't look for a skyline in Amarillo. It's flat for miles. A little too late for me to do the sunset today, but I'll check on it tomorrow and let you know. Okay. 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 Colleen is saying the Capan Mayan ruins in Honduras look amazing, but Honduras has a level 3 travel advisory. I've never had a problem traveling all over Guatemala. It also has a level 3 travel advisory as well. Well, what are they saying in that level 3 travel advisory? I mean, what a level 3 travel advisory says is reconsider travel, but they have to give you a reason why. Are Americans being kidnapped? Is there gang violence? I mean, that'll give you a level 3 advisory from Mexico, but except that Americans are not being kidnapped, right? It's gang versus gang. So get back to me and let me know exactly the wording of that level 3 advisory. Then we can have a more intelligent discussion. All right. Tim says about tipping, I do not tip if I'm standing up and leaving. Bars not included. Okay, I get it. Although, let me tell you something about tipping at bars. This is one of my all-time pet peeves. What is a restaurant reservation if not an implied contract, right? You set a time on it, be there at 8 o'clock or 7:30 or 7. So you get there at the appointed hour. You're keeping up your end of the contract. But the table's not ready. So what do? Why don't you go wait at the bar and buy drinks? But I didn't come there to wait at the bar and buy drinks. I came to honor the reservation that you promised me. So what happens? I go to the bar. And if I'm with my friends, I buy drinks. When they tell me the table's ready, I ask them to take the tab and add it to my tab. They don't want to do it. I have to settle at the bar. Where am I going? It's the bar inside the restaurant. Why? The bartender wants to make sure the bartender gets tipped. I get it. But let's go back to why I was sent there in the first place. Because the restaurant didn't live up to the end of the bargain that they promised me. If I own a restaurant, and by the way, not planning to own one anytime soon, but if I did, and you had a 7 o'clock reservation, and you came in and for whatever reason that table wasn't ready, please go to the bar. Drinks are on me. I'm the host. Right? Now, conversely, if you had a reservation at 7 o'clock and you show up at 8 o'clock, there should be a surcharge because you didn't honor your end of the deal. I think both are fair and both should be initiated. Anyway, there you have it. Debbie saying hi from New Jersey. Jim and Harris saying the employers need to rethink their tipping policy. Totally unacceptable. Pay your employees. I'm right there with you. Tim wants to know if I'm still working on the points and reward store. You bet. It's this is going to be a couple more weeks in the process, maybe a couple more months, because it's a 1-hour investigative piece. It'll be well worth the wait, I promise you. Alexander saying, greetings from sunny Rio de Janeiro. Sunset from Sugarloaf Mountain is a must with 2 great cable car rides if you can get on. It's always crowded, right? But if you did it, I applaud you. Joan says, we have the book, The Blue Highway. I haven't read it, but my husband has and is always singing its praises. Well, there you go, Joan. We will absolutely watch your special. Cheers from San Francisco Bay Area. Loving our rain. Okay. Okay. Tulsa Airport is finally building a new tower. The current one is one of the oldest in the country. The fact that they're building, this is from Gene. Gene, the fact they're building a new tower doesn't mean the equipment's going to be new because they still have to get it appropriated and approved and built and installed and trained. There's the problem. Okay. Priya saying hello from Chicago. Joyce saying, what station do I listen to on Saturday on the radio to get the travel deals? Well, if you can't find a station in your market, it's very easy. Go to our website, petergreenberg.com. You'll see the radio icon. Hit it about 10:05 Eastern time on Saturday morning, and you'll hear us streaming the show. It's streamed live. Okay? Okay. Mike is saying he's on the Scarlet Lady now, the Virgin ship. Best to you on the Xcel. Well, I'm already off the Xcel. I'm sailing in Amarillo, so to speak. But enjoy your Virgin cruise. Any update on what Hertz is doing with all those EV cars they purchased? They're long since gone. They either sold them or sent them to auction. They still have a few in the fleet, but nowhere near what got them in trouble in the first place. They had too many EV cars and not enough people interested in running them. Anthony just posted where you can find our CBS News show. It's right there on the chat comment on the comment place. Okay. Colleen says the Honduras advisory looks benign to me. Okay. Here's what it says for Honduras. Violent crimes such as homicide, armed robbery, and kidnapping remain common. Violent gang activity. Yeah, this is gang against gang. It's not against visitors. There seems to be a gentleman's agreement in Mexico and in Honduras that we're hands off. So based on that, you just don't go in blindly. You go in intelligently. Remember, there are places in any city in every country in the world where you don't want to go. Not the country or the city itself, but places within that city or country. So do your homework, you'll be fine. I'm back. Interference here in Amarillo. The cows may be angry, but we're back. Sorry about that, folks. What I was just saying is, based on what she just said about the Honduras and the level 3 advisory, you go with caution. You go with a little bit of concern. You go with intelligence, and you should be fine. I'm serious. If we applied the level 3 advisory to any city in the United States, we'd never leave our own homes. Just remember that. It's a little bit alarmist. I understand it. I just don't accept it. A couple of things that I want to make you aware of, and we're going to post this link. We just did a piece on the Travel Detective, which you can find, on an amazing airline that flies literally all over the world. You cannot buy a ticket on it. We were able to hop on for a ride, and for one very good reason. It's Project Orbis. I've known about them for 30 years. I've done a number of stories with them all over the world. We did one in the Sudan. We just did one with them in Bangladesh. Project Orbis is the most amazing plane, in this case a DC-10, that was given to them by FedEx. And what is it? A bunch of dedicated doctors and nurses. It's a completely equipped teaching flying hospital. And Orbis, as you might suspect, means it's a flying eye hospital. They are literally flying around the world, and I'm not exaggerating here, curing blindness. And we've just posted the link you can watch in the comments page. I hope you get a chance to see this. Mark Albert did a great job reporting it for us in Bangladesh. And it's an organization I hope you'll support, especially at this time of the year. They need all of our help. But the work they're doing is everything short of miraculous. So I hope you get a chance to do that. Also, by early next year, more free in-flight Wi-Fi. Now, we know JetBlue started it with free in-flight Wi-Fi. In the last couple of years, Delta's put it out there, if you're a member of their frequent flyer program, as free. American is going to do it soon. By the end of this year, 500 of their fleet will have it. Free Wi-Fi if you're a member of their Advantage program. And the rest of the fleet in 2026. United is doing the same. They had to be dragged kicking and screaming into it because they wanted to get revenue. But people were literally choosing their airline when they could based on which offered the free Wi-Fi. It really moved the needle because we're going to be up there for 3 or 4 hours. We want to stay connected. I don't blame us. And the airlines are finally capitulating to public demand, which is always nice to see. All right, let's continue to scroll down here. Give me a second here. Okay. Lois says, how far in advance should I buy tickets to the new gem in Cairo? You don't have to buy them in advance. What you do is when you get to your hotel, or even before you get to your hotel, pick up the phone. Yes, it's called a phone call. Call the concierge at that hotel in Cairo and tell them what day and time you want to go visit it. They'll get the tickets and they'll secure it for you. Okay? As simple as that. But if you really want to have an amazing experience, have the concierge. It's a little pricey, but I'm telling you, it's a life-changing experience. Give you a special behind-the-scenes tour with all the work, with all the artists and the restorers and the artisans in the workshops in the back. Remember, this museum is getting deliveries of like 5 or 6 sarcophagi a day and things that they're rescuing from tombs they just discovered. And when you go in those back rooms, you're watching the meticulous restoration work. When I was there, they showed me King Tut's bed they found. They showed me his underwear they recovered. Unbelievable. And literally, it was as close to me as I am to you on the screen right now. And they could give me the history, the context, and the perspective that I needed. That's when you're learning history while it's being lived. And so if you get a chance, as long as you're going to book something through the concierge, see if they can get you a private tour of the workshops at the gem. Well worth it. And a great moment. Really, I can't overestimate that enough because I can't overestimate it. All right, let's keep going here. One more thing before I forget it. I know it's Thanksgiving coming up. And so, I promised you one other thing I was going to tell you about. Why are there still ashtrays in airplane bathrooms? Ever wonder? I've been on some flights where they still have ashtrays in the armrests. Remember those metal ashtrays? Why do they have them in bathrooms? You think the airlines want them there? Smoking's prohibited. It's illegal. They put them in there because the FAA makes them put them in there for safety, because if somebody does go in there to smoke, even though it might activate the smoke detector, where are they going to put the cigarette out? Right? It's a safety issue. So they still have the ashtrays in the bathrooms. I think it sends the wrong message, but I understand why they're doing it. Okay. One more thing I want to tell you about. For a long time, I depended, if you go to make a reservation on an airline and you go to their seating chart, 9 times out of 10, that seating chart lies because they're holding back seats for their, mega frequent flyers, or they're putting a price tag on a seat they never should put a price tag on, like a middle seat, right? So I always went, before I got to the airline website, to figure out what those seats actually look like. I went to Seat Guru, right? Great website. It had the actual configuration of the onboard seating on every aircraft type in the world. Well, guess what? It's no longer. After 24 years, Seat Guru is gone. The parent company just dumped it. So there's another place you can go to get those seating configuration charts, and you need them. Here it is, AEROLOPA. I'll give it to you again. It's Aerolopa, AEROLOPA.com. Check it out. At least it's another research tool that you have at your disposal before you decide which seat you want. Okay? Of course, again, our radio show coming from the Danube this week. Next week, there will not be a GTU. We're taking the week off for Thanksgiving. And since I mentioned Thanksgiving, I want to give you some of my closing thoughts about Thanksgiving. Some of you who are regular listeners and watchers know that I believe that Thanksgiving is just an obligatory dysfunctional family get-together, right? It's an opportunity for you to go and get all your emotional buttons pushed by all your dysfunctional relatives and eat food that you would never eat at any other time of the year. And then watch bad football as much as you can to get away from the button pushing relatives. Okay, so here's my thought. If you have to go, then do what I always used to do. Leave on the 6 a.m. flight Thursday morning. You'll get to where you need to go in time to carve the turkey and have them push all the buttons. But then early Friday morning, whoops, got to go home on a day that nobody is flying. Zero, right? You go bowling on the plane and you get back home. The weekend then belongs back to you. And then you get to choose which bad football games you want to watch. Isn't that great? I also want to share with you some other thoughts about Thanksgiving. Here's one from the late Johnny Carson. I'll read this. Thanksgiving is an emotional time. People travel thousands of miles to be with people they only see once a year and then discover that once a year is way too often. Here's one from Nicole Hollander. Cooking tip. Wrap turkey leftovers in aluminum foil and throw them out, which you're going to do anyway. David Letterman. Love this one. There are a lot of New York City Thanksgiving traditions. For example, a lot of New Yorkers don't buy the frozen Thanksgiving turkey. They prefer to buy the bird live and then push it in front of a subway train. And finally, which by the way, if you run the numbers, I think the late Irma Bombeck has a point. Thanksgiving dinners take 18 hours to prepare. They are consumed in 12 minutes. Half times at football games take 12 minutes. This is not coincidence. And there you have it. So I want you guys to have a happy Thanksgiving. But before we go, I've got some other questions that came in from you that I want to answer. Dylan says, what's the best day to fly during Thanksgiving week? I told you, Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Marcy, are there any airports that are notorious for Thanksgiving delays that I should avoid if possible? I can't give you a direct answer because the great intangible here, of course, Marcy, is weather. So let's assume there's weather. If that's the case, Chicago's got a problem. But Salt Lake City probably doesn't. Salt Lake City has managed weather better than any other major airport I know in the world. I think it's only closed maybe one day a year because of weather. They really have their snow removal under control. So 3 cheers for Salt Lake. Chicago, all bets are off. Okay. Trevor says, I'm driving 6 hours for Thanksgiving. Is it better to travel Wednesday night or first thing Thursday morning? Well, let me give you my definition of first thing Thursday morning. 2 a.m. Thursday morning. Drive then. You'll get to where you need to go by 8 o'clock in the morning of Thanksgiving Day. Take a long nap, then let the relatives push the buttons. Okay? Okay. Jerome says, if my Thanksgiving flight gets delayed or canceled, what am I actually owed from the airline? Well, let's break it up. If your flight gets delayed by the airline, thanks to the Trump administration throwing out the proposed DOT rules on passenger compensation, the rules of delay in the event of delays or cancellations, you're not going to get much, if anything. Now, the airlines do have a mission statement of what they intend to do to try to help, but they're in no way, shape, or form required to do it. But you asked the other question, what happens if they cancel the flight? Well, under the rules that do exist, if the airline cancels your flight, you're entitled to an immediate and full reimbursement of your travel, of your flight expenses, meaning your airline ticket, back to the original form of purchase. Okay? If you cancel the flight, you get a flight credit. Good for a year. But that year is based on when? The day you bought the ticket, not the day you intended to fly. Keep that in mind. The clock starts ticking the day you buy that ticket. Okay. Kendra's asking, I'm flying with a pie for Thanksgiving dinner. We just talked about that, Kendra. Felix says, are airfare prices expected to drop right after Thanksgiving? I want to book a trip for early 2026. Yes, they will, starting around the 4th or 5th of January. So look at those fares. And if you want to use Google Flights to do it, then go ahead and do that, simply because you'll set a price alert so that if the fare drops even more, they'll alert you. And if it's a big enough differential, you cancel that first flight, rebook it, and that difference becomes a credit that you can use down the road. All right, guys? So Thanksgiving. I give my thanks to you for watching. I give my thanks to Anthony for helping out with the engineering today. As always, I want everybody to have a happy and healthy holiday. We are off next week. No global travel update next week. I'll be flying back from Amarillo, and I'll see you on the radio from the middle of the Danube in Europe. And then we'll see you right after Thanksgiving so you can tell me how much fun you had on the road, how much fun you had in the air, and how much fun you had throwing out all those turkey leftovers. Happy early Thanksgiving, everybody, and I'll see you in about 10 to 12 days. Bye, everybody.